Okay, so the question is, write about the brotherhood that developed between the new community of Muslims in Medina. That's a 10-mark question, not to be discussed right now. How is this brotherhood a good example for Muslim communities now? The example of brotherhood. We're going to pick examples from that brotherhood and how is it beneficial for Muslim communities now. What do we see? Sacrifice, selfless, empathy, welcoming, unity, strength, support, adjustment. Now, what can we see? The sense of sacrifice. The people coming in are the people who have sacrificed literally near to everything to come to Medina. And then the sacrifice on behalf of their, hosts, the people, the Ansar. You can see them sacrificing their privacy of their homes also. See, it's not just, they're sacrificing their wealth for them. They are sacrificing, their homes. But they also, when you're living together, your privacy, when people are living with you, your private life is disturbed a lot. So you can see them sacrificing their privacy also for the Muslims. And, the sense of sacrifice today, they're sacrificing their time, their efforts, their money. What lacks in the Muslim communities today is the sense of sacrifice. Every single person is just focused on their own selves, that what is beneficial for me. The sense of sacrifice is near to not visible in the Muslim community today. It has to be worked upon, basically. I think you can't work on it. I think it's something, it's a trait that you have from within. And how can that trait be built? This feeling of sacrifice from within is when your iman is strong. When you sacrifice your time, efforts, privacy or, enjoyment or anything that you enjoy doing for the sake of Allah, that is a thing that this community lacks. We should work on it. What do we see? That everybody is selfless. They're not selfish. When the Muhajir came into their homes, what they would eat, they would feed the Muhajir family better than they would feed their own children. They would facilitate them more than they would facilitate their own selves. So they were selfless people, not selfish people. Whereas our communities today, everybody has become so selfish that they're not even concerned about. You will see people not being worried about their parents not being worried about their children, siblings not being worried about their siblings. And we've entered into the modern community today is lacking the basic ethics of a peaceful community, basically. So they should develop selflessness in their own selves to build a community based on harmony and empathy, basically. Empathy. They do not feel now. Recently, did you hear about a model dying in her flat and she stayed there dead for about 9 months? Where has the empathy of the society gone? Previously when neighbors, if they never used to see a neighbor for a couple of days, or unusual activity is happening, or then people used to look into the matter. If somebody has not been seen, they would go and check on the person. If somebody's not opening the door, why is that person not opening the door? If somebody's not answering their telephone calls, why isn't that person not answering? Today, we are lacking these essential building blocks of a community, basically, to be caring for the other person, to be empathetic towards another person. Gaza, when we see Gaza, and us as Muslims, we literally, everybody has become insensitive towards Gaza nowadays. How many people are speaking about it? We just go through the Facebook post. Sometimes we watch through it, sometimes we just scroll over it. The Muslim communities today, they are lacking empathy, and what we should learn from the Muslim Brotherhood is that they were empathetic towards each other. Welcoming. Now, what do we learn? That we should be welcoming to any immigrant. Sometimes people they're not actually moving into your home, but they're moving into your community from another country. And how do we treat that person? Or sometimes not just from another country, but if you are posted into a different city and they're coming into your city, how welcoming are we about them? We are not welcoming at all. If there's a new student in our school, we enjoy, making fun of him or bullying him or alienating him or her at that time. So there's a lot to learn from Brotherhood. We should be welcoming to the public, to anybody who enters our neighborhood or school or workplace even. Unity. The best thing that we can see is they were unified as, even Muhajir and Sar, they totally don't know each other, belonging to different families, different caste. Although what were they unified on? On Islam, on their faith. So we saw the unity, they worked together, they fought together, there was no discrimination. What we lack in our Islamic communities today is in fact unity. There's the main household, the house that we're living in, the family that we're living in, there's no unity there. So how is it going to be developed in the community? Husbands and wives are at war with each other. Then children are, competing with their parents. Siblings are competing with each other. Then the extended family. All you can see is competition and rivalry and unity near to nothing. I won't say that there are still some families. There are still families whose unity is exemplary, but majority, we lack unity in family units. So then, it extends on to the larger community. That's one thing that Muslims need to work on, unity amongst your family, your neighborhood, and then the larger Muslim ummah also. Strength. Them coming together gave them strength basically. Remember at the time in Makkah the Muslims were weak, but coming together with the Ansar they became strong. And if today the Muslim community, if they would just unify with each other, then the Muslim ummah would also be a strong ummah. Today in the West, where there are Islamic communities and they're living on their own, the one thing I love is that they are more unified. That small band of Muslims living in a foreign country are more unified than the Muslims living in a Muslim country, because they go to mosque together, they share their happinesses together, they share events together. They are more unified and they are strong as a community. If one person in that Islamic community in a foreign land has a problem, then all of the community will stand up for that person, whereas it's different when you're like in Pakistan, it's totally different. And supporting each other, we can learn to support each other in financially supporting each other. Sometimes a person does not want financial support, like one of the companions refused financial support and just asked for guidance to the market so he could manage his ways. So supporting does not necessarily mean that you have to support them, they're keeping in your house. You can give them emotional support, you can give them psychological support, you can give them some people are new into the society and you can give them a tour around the block, around your city, to help them navigate different places that they need to go, the bank, the library, the hospital. You can help them that way. Or sometimes they need logistic support, you can drive them around or things like that. And adjusting to different circumstances. Remember, the people who shifted to Medina were well off in their own states, but as soon as they came to Medina, naturally they're living in somebody's house and they're not as well off as they used to be in Makkah. So they learn to adjust also. So Muslim communities should also learn to adjust according to their circumstances of where they are living. I hope that answers the question. If you have any views of your own, you can also drop those.